What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Way Up Network. This is another episode of Way Up After Dark. It is your girl, Ashley, as it always is. And today, I am so displaced because the guest that we have on our show today is a longtime OG client of the Way Up Network, but she has also become a very dear friend, a soul sister like energy, if I dare say. And I'm so excited to introduce her to you guys today. I almost have like a inner child giggly kind of energy because every time I talk to her, we just like dive into the trenches of the most craziest shit, but we're always able to laugh about it and make light of it. And humor is definitely our way that we push through things. And so we definitely share that quality, and so I just know this is gonna be good. So without further ado, let me introduce you guys to Miss Vilma Estrada herself, and here she is. Hi.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Girl, I am trying to. I'm with my Red Bull. I
Yeah.
shouldn't be. I'm with my Gatorade. I got my little self a little snack. I was like, I'm gonna hook myself up with sugar. I'm gonna be okay.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I am. I'm not sweating a little bit, but
So I have to confess that this is actually me and Vilma usually talk on the phone. So this is like our first time actually meeting face to face. And it's crazy
really,
because I don't think either one of us really planned for today. So
yeah,
it kind of just happened. But we've been talking about it for a while. Like, so anyone else that like comes on here and we do this, just know that the idea was first ran by Vilma. So she was supposed to be like the one, but then like I don't know, life happens and things evolve and we're just here
yes.
randomly. Like this still is like the first episode, but it's not like we didn't plan for this day. So it's kind of just like we're going to see what happens.
But it's so on theme, right? Like I feel
Yeah.
like it was exactly the way it should have that it needs to be
Yeah.
without any planning, without any like because I was resistant. I'm not gonna
We
I
would
was
never
like
have done it.
exactly. I was like, oh, I really, really want to do it. I really want to do this. And then I was like, okay, when it comes down to it, I was like, we'll do it, we'll do it. And then it just never happened.
Ever. It
Yeah.
wouldn't have.
Yeah.
But not because we don't want to, but just because
Right.
of like the energy we've been in. It's
Yeah.
been so like go and do and be brave and be bold and like do it afraid. And there is th- those are the messages because there is so much resistance to just doing things. And so like if it
Yeah.
wasn't this way, if it wasn't, I don't want to say last minute because it wasn't planned. So like if it
Yeah.
wasn't this way, when would it have ever gotten done? I feel
Yeah. And
so.
also, I think that it doesn't give us time to overthink it, like you said, because yeah, when you were like, I was like, no, we have to do it like right now, because then I'll start thinking about it, and then I'll get in my head, and then I'm like, what am I gonna say? What are we gonna talk about? And then how am I gonna do it? Yeah, it is
Yes.
so much better this way.
No, I do the same thing. I do the same thing, and I feel like that's just it's such a sign that your mind is your own worst enemy sometimes because you could feel something in your heart and feel something in your soul and like want to do it so bad, but then as soon as your mind gets involved, it's like I'm not doing anything. I'm not. I can't.
100%.
I won't be good. I won't be able to do this. Like I am my if I am ever my own worst enemy, is literally because of that. So like better now than never.
100%. Yeah, I mean, what we were texting earlier, like, do it and do it scared.
Yeah,
Just
do
fucking
it
do it.
scared.
Like,
Do
just
it
fuck it.
scared.
Like, it is what it is.
People
You
talk
know,
up
that
yeah.
I'm sorry, go
No, go
ahead.
ahead.
I was just thinking like earlier too, just even this week, I was thinking about how, a different version of myself would have been so scared to what I'm doing now, but now it just seems so normal. Whatever I'm doing now is so normal. A year ago, I would have been like, I was still panicking, like, oh my God, I left my job. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Now I'm moving abroad. Now I'm just like, okay, bye. Like, well, this is obviously still very new, but it's different, so it's interesting to be able to realize that this is like my new normal,
Yes.
so it's like one of those like mind fucks of just like, holy shit, okay, got it, okay, okay, I can do it because I did it scared last time, so I can do it
Yeah.
again.
Yes. Yes. So okay, so let's talk about that because I this morning when I woke up, I it's 1:11 on the clock over here by the way. So when I woke up this morning, I was thinking to myself, no coincidences ever, especially with you. Like I feel like we're always on the
Yes.
same like frequency because when I fucking
Yeah.
woke up this morning, I was thinking to myself, I was like, there's a lot of shit in my life that I could be tripping off of right now.
Yeah, 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 no, seriously.
There is like so
Yeah.
much that is like not perfect, that is not
Mhm.
like that I don't feel in control over,
Yep.
that I am just like letting myself not be in control over. Like I could be tripping off of so much shit right now. And the way that I feel about everything that is not perfect is so different than a year ago. So let's
Yeah.
talk about that for you. So where were you at a year ago? What was going on? What was the first like I have to do this shit or I'm never gonna escape what I
Oh
am
my
in now?
God. A year ago, what are we in May? A year ago. So I would have been March, April, May. I would have been 3 months post leaving my job.
Mm. Mm.
And I would probably have just been in this, like, probably still in a high, but kind of coming down, maybe, of like, oh, holy fuck, I just left my job. So I guess to preface it, I used to be a general manager for a luxury brand, and I had been in this career, or not just with this brand, but my career in general, for 15 years. And I enjoyed it for some time. It was like, I think I benefited from it. For sure I benefited from it. I mean, I was able to do so much. I mean, I was able to provide a life for my daughter as a single mom that not a lot of women can, have experience, with no college degree, with, no family support. Like, so I'm definitely super, super grateful for that. But I think I had just reached like my full on, like, I just could no longer do it. Like, I just felt so, I mean, I would literally be crying in my car before going into work,
Mm.
on my way to work, the night of, with anxiety of just like, fuck, I can't go to work. I just can't. I just can't. Like,
Yeah.
I just felt like the walls were closing in. I just felt like I
Mhm.
couldn't breathe. I just felt like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, I'm just wasting my time. I'm wasting my talent. I'm wasting my presence. I'm wasting my
Yes.
experience. I'm wasting my energy. I'm wasting just like people here. And it's not like, I mean, I know when my ego is like, up there, but this was not at all. Like, this was something where I know, like, this was like my value. This was like who I am. Like, I'm
Yeah.
literally wasting all of this on people that just don't even value it, don't even deserve it, don't even realize it. And that's another thing, realizing it, that you have this fucking gem in your you have access to it, and you're just being like, uh, or because you're so, or or also it's like you see it, but you're so like, fuck. this is too bright. She's too bright. Nope, we got to dim her down. We got to dim
Yeah.
her down. This is too much because now because she's so bright, I have to look at pieces of myself.
Mhm.
And I don't want to do that. So let's put her down. Let's put her light down because if her light is down, then my light, there's no light. I don't see the reflection of her light in me.
Yeah.
And I couldn't at that point. Honestly, thank God. I thank God. I was like in this I don't give a fuck mode because my bosses were trash, and I honestly did give them a fuck. I gave them a hard time, and I'm so fucking proud of myself because I was just like, bitch, I'm not gonna. No, no, you're not gonna fool me. I know my worth. I know my value. You wanna fire me? Let's go. Because I'm gonna quit anyway. I want to quit anyway, and it sounds crazy, and it I do feel like part of it was I'm glad that I think I needed a little bit of that craziness and to feel it, right? Because then I
Yes.
feel like it empowered me to just be like, you know what, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I just decided, I think we had talked about it a few times actually. I was like, and it was almost like I was going there, right? I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And then I feel like because I didn't really have necessarily a plan, I kept like resisting. And then out of nowhere, it was just like, well, before I actually got this particular like give me the conviction, the sense of conviction, so that I'll know if I feel that conviction, I will know for sure that this is the next step that I need to take. And I won't
Mm.
ask any questions of how, when, what, like none of the questions won't fucking matter, because if I feel the conviction within myself, that's all I need. Because I know that when I'm in those moments of like doubt or fear, I'll come back to this feeling and I'll remember, okay, this was the feeling of conviction. I remembered, I thought about it a lot. I remember I prayed on it a lot. So I'll know, okay, we're good. We're good. So that's what happened. And I remember just like kind of like a light switched. I think we had talked and time passed by. And then I was just like, I'm going to quit. It was like literally, I was just like, okay, I'm going to quit. And sure enough, like it was almost like also an out of body experience. I just remember like
Yes.
typing my notice, and then I just like called my assistant, and then I called one of my another manager there, and I was like, yo, I put my 2 weeks notice, and that was that. And
Yeah.
then I had no plans. I had no idea what the fuck I was gonna do, how I
Yeah.
was gonna do it. And it was so scary. It is by
I
far, God, it makes me want to cry now because it was so scary.
good.
It was so, so scary. Like it
Yes.
was, it's not traumatizing, it's not the word, but it
No, it's
definitely
liberate
was,
those are tears of liberation. If it makes you sad, it's not like a
yeah,
boo-hoo sad. It's like an empowering sad, like,
yeah,
I mean, or empowering tears because you freed yourself from something that you had believed for so long that you couldn't, and you did it.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, seriously, because I have thought about it. I feel like it was building up, right, over
Yeah, yeah,
time, for sure.
yeah,
And it was almost like the voice was there quietly, and then it just became so loud that I could not deny it anymore. It was
yeah,
impossible. And it's even more interesting now that I'm reflecting on it, now that I could hear it so loudly after my whole personal other stuff that was going on, all the other life
yeah,
situations. So
yeah,
it's interesting that I could hear it, but I think it's because of that I could hear it.
yeah,
It was because of all of this, like this catalyst that allowed me to be like, oh my fucking God, I am
yes,
miserable. I am unhappy. I am unsatisfied. I am just dying inside because I cannot be who I want to be and who I know
mm,
to be. So, like, let's
yes,
just break off all of this because I am no longer this, you know? And I
yes,
just no longer, I honestly feel like I felt or I look like I was in this box and I was just like so like, just uncomfortable, like Alice in Wonderland type of feeling of just like,
Yes.
when I think there's like a scene where she's like growing up, like becoming larger and larger. And
Yeah.
that's how I felt like, I just like, dude, I can't do this anymore. So a May, yeah, a year ago, a May, that would have been, oh my God, I would have been planning or getting close to planning my daughter's trip to El Salvador, which I also had no
Oh.
idea how the fuck I was going to do because I had no job. And
Yeah.
somehow I still managed to do it. Isn't that crazy?
No, this is what people need to hear though, because
Oh my
there
God.
are all these old sayings that we just fucking hear and we just piss off like they're whatever. But if there is a will, if you will that shit,
Oh,
bitch, there is a fucking way.
wait,
Like
yes.
you
Yeah.
made it. Honestly, this is kind of this year, this past year for you is a testimony because what what have you really I will say this. The worst thing that you thought you that could happen to you, has it happened?
No. Or actually,
The
yes and
worst,
no.
not like little
Oh, no,
things
no, no,
that
no,
you
no,
thought,
no, no,
but the
no, no,
worst, like the absolute
no,
biggest fear,
no,
anxiety,
none of
that
it.
belief
None of
that
it.
you thought possible if you did this, it could happen. Has it
None
happened?
of it.
A
None of
year
it.
in,
Not even,
none?
not one single thing. Not one single thing. But I will say that I think it wasn't, it was, I think, a combination of two things. I think it was a combination of like, for sure, divine intervention, right? I feel like no
Yeah,
matter what, I
yeah.
had like the universe just like having my back and just cheering me on in the back. We're like, you got this, every step of the way, right? But I also think that it wasn't because it was impossible for them not to happen. It
Yeah.
was almost like they could have happened, but they were moments for me to like really just go through them. Like, okay, are you gonna
Yeah.
truly 100% stick with that belief? Yes or no? Do you really believe? Because I mean, I was heading in that direction on occasion. Like we've had those
Yeah.
conversations. Like, do you really believe? Like, why do you keep believing you're broke? And I was like, oh, that's a that's a great question. And then I had to go back and be like, why do I think this? Why am I thinking this? And I kept asking, like, please let me see this differently. Please help me think about this differently. And
Yeah.
it was just like, God, I feel like it's, that moment. Have you watched Inception, the
Yeah.
movie?
Yeah, yeah.
When it's like the buildings are like like they're caving in. I feel
Yeah.
like that's kind of what has been my whole entire year because I've just
Yeah.
had to reconstruct my reality over and over and over
Yes.
again, even when I still don't fully believe it. You know what I mean? Like, and then it's just
Mhm.
like, oh, holy shit, okay. That was a door. There was like a mirror, but it was a door, and now it's like, okay, I get to open it. And it's been a mind fuck, to say the
Yes.
least. For
Yes.
sure.
No, it has. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen The Truman Show?
I don't think so.
It's like an old ass movie with Jim Carrey, but it's
Oh, okay. Yeah.
definitely
Yeah, yeah.
watch it because you will be like, "Oh my god, this was my life the past year." I literally watched it the other day. I just had this feeling like go watch that movie. And basically, for those who don't know, right? Jim Carrey is this seemingly normal guy that has it all. He has a great job, he has a wife, he has, this nice house, this nice life or whatever. And he's living it every day, every day, every day until like one day he like wakes up, which is what we would call like an awakening, right?
Yeah.
He wakes up and he's like, something is not right here. He's like,
Yeah.
this is not the life that I should be living. Like, and if you were in the movie, it kind of reflects back onto different times that he got signs where something wasn't right. So
Yes.
he was like subconsciously collecting all these signs like over a
Yeah.
course of like 20 years. And he finally got to the point where he just like woke up And he was like, something is not right. So he was like asking himself certain questions, and he was
Yeah.
like trying to like put pieces of the puzzle together. And he comes to find out that he is basically in like a science project. Like some guy who's playing God had like put him in this simulation, and everyone around him is actors, his wife, people, all these people are in roles playing different,
But that's what
people
it
to him.
is.
And it's all fake. It's all like fake because it's all like meant to get him to this level where he realizes it's a simulation and he does not want to participate it anymore. And the last scene, not to have like a spoiler alert, but well, I guess it is a spoiler, but I have to like say it because like we're
Yeah.
here. But basically the last scene is him in this boat going across this lake. And in the beginning of the movie, you see him in this lake and he has this trauma because he thinks he loses his dad in the water. So now he has a trauma that prevents him from traveling to get out of, which is the only way to get out of the
Yeah.
simulation. So he has to like overcome his fears and his traumas, and he gets in this boat, and the guy who is controlling it is like sending storms and the wind and like basically making him relive his trauma until he gets to the other side and overcomes it. And that's when he gets his freedom. And
Yeah.
that the Truman Show movie came out in like 98, but it's so ahead of its fucking time because what
Yeah.
it is basically telling us is that that is what everyday life is. You are
Yeah.
sold. Even in the movie they said like some crazy ass shit, but one of the things that the guy who was like trying to play God was saying was like, people will believe the limitations within the reality you show them,
Mm-hmm.
and the goal in this life is to overcome them to get to your freedom. That was the whole
Mm-hmm.
purpose of the movie. And it was basically to replicate what human life on this planet is. And this is what we try to get people to the other side of, so that they don't keep
Yeah.
buying into the bullshit that is around them, that they can look at their life, no matter how great it seems on paper or according to society, and say,
Yeah.
does this really align with me? Does this
Mm-hmm.
really align with my soul? And if it doesn't, then how the fuck do I get out of it? And that's
Yeah.
where the Alice in Wonderland starts. That's
Mm-hmm.
where the rabbit hole begins. And it is only through that portal that you get to freedom. And that is what this last year for you and many other people who are going to be watching this have been
Yeah.
experiencing, because the Truman Show has been the collective energy for a lot of us for a while. So, and what do I always tell you when we talk? You're not alone. I swear to God. Like there's like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
million other people like
Yeah.
on this fucking boat, like
Yeah.
overcoming their traumas and demons and all the things to get to where you also want to go. And
Yeah.
it's not an easy journey,
No.
but you have that first step of like, I don't know what's on the other side, but I know I can't do this shit anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That is the first step to freedom, and that's
Mm-hmm.
where you were at last year. So, how
Um,
has your year of
yes.
freedom been? Not what one would think initially, right?
That is so insane when you put it that way because it's because I'm such because I'm in the transition,
Yeah,
yet I'm not, yet I've already transitioned. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I have already put in like I basically already said, like, universe, okay, like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the thing. I'm just gonna bet on myself. And I continue to just say that right over and over again. And then it was like, okay, gotcha. And then it was like, oh shit, what do you mean? Oh, okay, I get to have all the things, even more stuff that I didn't even like, me moving abroad. I mean, it was something I wanted to do, and it's something I talked about, and it's something I dreamed about, and it's something I aspired to. I mean, I dreamed of going back to school. I dreamed of becoming a full-time artist and painter and just doing that. And God, I mean, I'm like living that. Like that's literally what I'm living. Like I can't even like God, even just like saying it out loud feels so surreal. It feels like so strange, but so yet right. Like, yeah, girl, like duh. Like, isn't this what you asked for? Like, no, 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 for sure, for sure. But like in that process of just like, oh, okay, like it's like that I don't know if you sent it to me or if I sent it to you, but it was like this like Instagram reel where it's like it's like, oh, this what it feels like before you get to your like your dream life or something like that. And it's like an airplane, and it's like there's all like these clouds and you just don't see the airplane anymore, and then all of a sudden you see it, and it's like there's like the sunrise and it's beautiful, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how it feels like. I know I'm on board, and there's no going back. There's like there's it does, you know, something you said on your last video that I was listening today about the full moon of Scorpio. It was like there's no more past. Like your past doesn't exist anymore. And I was just like, fuck. I mean, I know that makes sense, right? But sometimes it's hard not to when you're just constantly thinking about it and just dwelling on it. And I was like, but she's right. Like, she's right. Like I've already that life no longer fits this new Vilma. And I'm already past the work. I mean, I'm still working on it, obviously. I'm still like going through and healing and all that good stuff. But in terms of like who I am right now, who sits before you is a completely different Vilma. Like it's not even like, whoa, like I'm just
I
like
agree.
like what?
I agree for
I
sure.
right, I was reading, you know, I was packing up last night, and I found one of my journals, and I started reading through them, and I was just like, God, like I just wanted to hug her so bad, because I just remember how, like, I just think about myself, which sounds like I'm thinking about or seeing a different person, but I see her eyes and they're so sad. They're so sad and they're so hurt and they're just so much pain in there, you know? There's just so much, like, she's so exhausted, and she's like, okay, I'm just gonna hang on. Okay, I know there's light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, like God, and it's just like every step is so painful. Like, you know, it was so god awfully painful. Like there was moments where I did not know how I was gonna do it. Like for sure, for sure. Like I was just like,
Yeah.
dude, just take me now. Just
Yeah.
take me now, because I don't know how you want me to do this. Like I thought I had already
Yeah.
survived the thick of the thickest, like 10 plus years ago, because I have, similar to you, no contact with my biological family. I have no ties to them. Like for you know, for the best interest of myself and my mental health and my daughter's mental health, and you know, safety and all the, you know, all of that good stuff. But fuck. It's just like, whoa, whoa. But now I see, like, damn, that had to happen. Damn, like,
Yeah. It always listen, I don't know about you, but get in terms of sorry, this fan down here is like so annoying. So I'm like trying to like get it so I can turn it off. But I don't know about you, but my least favorite part of being on an airplane is taking off.
yeah,
And so when
yeah,
I saw that video of the
yeah,
airplane going through the clouds, and we're relating that to times where we did feel lost and literally felt like our world was crashing down, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
that's why I say I don't know about y'all, but for me going up, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna fucking die. I'm gonna fucking die. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah, yeah,
Like, how the
yeah,
fuck am I
yeah,
supposed to
yeah,
travel fucking 18 hours to Japan like this if I
yeah,
can't even, like for me
yeah,
going up is the worst. So when I saw that video, I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, this is what it feels like because
yeah,
the majority scientifically, this is why everything is so symbolic because scientifically, the most plane accidents, crashes happen at takeoff. This is a fact. I know I shouldn't be saying this. I'm gonna scare everyone to death, but let's be fucking for real. Like they mostly happen at takeoff, and
yeah,
it is the most scariest part. So to watch this video of this plane like going through these dark, like treacherous clouds, that is what it feels like when you're ascending, when you're evolving, when you're elevating, when you're
yeah,
leveling up in life. This is exactly what it feels like. It feels like you don't know what the fuck. I can't even tell you when you said, I take me now because I don't even know that it feels like death. It feels
yes,
like fucking death because it
yes,
is fucking
yes,
death. Like when you say no to an old life, an old version, old habits, or behaviors that just are not in alignment with where you're trying to go, you
yeah,
die. And
yeah,
it gets to the point mentally, emotionally, and spiritually where you're like, well, fucking take me then because
yeah,
I don't have the capacity to handle anymore. But
yep,
when you realize that you only feel like that because your capacity is actually expanding, like
yeah,
to really take flight, to really go from 10,000 feet to fucking 50,000, like
yeah,
really, you're like, it's a beautiful death. You start
and
to
I'm
understand.
sorry,
Oh, no, you're gonna say no, you're good. I was just gonna say you start to understand like how beautiful it is. It's treacherous. And this is what
yeah,
people need to hear that the last year for you, for me, fucking for everyone, shit, like
yeah,
it has not been easy. This year is a death year. That full moon in Scorpio is that checkpoint to this very scorpionic year that we're in to say,
yeah,
no more to this old skin, no more to these old karmic loops, no more to this shit. And people need to know that it is painful. People need to know that dying hurts. Like,
yes,
people need to
yeah,
know that the birthing process, you have a kid. Was that shit pretty? Was that shit
Uh,
fun? Did you feel good?
yeah,
Because
yeah, no, not at all,
being born hurts just as much as dying.
yeah,
And that is not an easy process, but if you get through it, you look back and you're like, I see why now I had to
yeah,
feel that. I see why I had to go through that. I see why shit didn't work out exactly how I
yeah,
thought it should have when
mm-hmm.
I took the leap because my ego was dying.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And
So,
that goes to like why many people, and I think and I you say this always often. I mean, but you say it very gracefully, and this is why a lot of people don't do it or stop while they're doing it because it is excruciatingly painful to lose yourself or also just allow yourself to just die, right? And then be like, fuck, I no longer fit in that skin. And then being like, no, but that's safety. I want to go back. I want to go back, because that feels normal. And, but before I forget, what I was thinking was also why it was so I feel like my skin was just raw, like that's how I can best describe my experience. Like I felt like I was just like raw and like, now it's like, okay, like now I'm like good. Like now, I mean, there's tender parts where I'm just like, woo, my bad. I forgot. But for the most part, I'm like, okay, cool. Like I've seen new skin, like it's like even glowing. Bless you. Bless you. But
thank you. Sorry.
of course, but what I think why it was also so much more painful than I think the catalyst to like evolve the first huge, which was really, or I guess maybe the second, because I feel like my daughter was like, the birth of my daughter was definitely like the first like step to be like, fuck this, I can't do this shit, I gotta do something about it. And then deciding to like cut off all ties with my family was just like the second huge part. But I don't even, I mean, I think that the reason why this time it was so much more painful was because I was awake. And it was different, right? Like it was
The
like,
truth hurts.
oh my God, yes, because before I couldn't. It was in my best interest to, because I was also in survival mode, right? Like go, 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 like, just kind of like almost like in a hermit mode, like protect, like, cover all of the outside noise, like, uh and then just work on it in myself, and work and like hibernate, just like myself. And then finally it was just like, oh, okay, like I get to come out of that. But coming out of that means that you have to see everything, everybody around, including myself. And then that is hard. That is some hard ass shit, because then you realize, oh, why did I pick you? Okay, why did I allow that? Oh, okay. What? Ooh, ooh, I don't want to talk. Like, ooh, I don't want to talk about that. But it's the reality. It's like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, like shit. Why did I? How did that? What does that mean? How did? Then you're just like, holy fuck. I guess that then you start thinking accountability.
And that is when most people, from my experience, drop off because it is so much
Yeah.
easier. This is the difference. And I did a video a few days ago about the different levels of consciousness.
Yeah.
And the first four are ego consciousness.
Mm.
And even if you're at that fourth dimension, which is above the matrix, where you're starting to become aware and seeing things, because it is still that ego consciousness, because it is still that therapy consciousness, you still run the risk of being a victim and staying in that victim mentality. And it's easier to be in the victim mentality because it's easier to blame and be like,
100%.
they fucking suck and I am perfect and I have nothing to do with
Yeah.
how they fucking were and blah blah blah. And
Yeah.
it really is a fine line to tread because you can't really go to that next level, that 5D, until you drop out of victim mentality, until you drop out of blame. And that means you have to look at yourself and say, well, they were like this, but I allowed it. And you
Hmm.
have compassion for it's a balance because you still have to have the compassion for yourself and tell yourself, okay, well, I did everything I could with what I had at the time. And now that I'm
Yeah.
aware, I can make new decisions and new choices. So I don't have to
Yeah.
hate myself. I don't have to spiral on guilt and shame. I can take accountability for what I allowed with what I knew at the time. And then I can forgive myself and that person and move on. That
Yeah.
is where people get stuck because I'm telling you, it's like, well, how come this and how come that and they and blah blah blah. And we all
Yeah.
we all go through this. So it's not like a, oh gosh, you're so abnormal because you can't, you know, forgive or whatever. Like it is the hardest part. That's why I said like getting out of that fourth dimension is most people stay there because
Yeah.
they can't let they really can't let everything go. And I feel like you we try to force our way to that point when it
Hmm.
only can come naturally when you think about the past and you have a neutral reaction to it. And I think that's where you
Mm.
have been because
Yeah.
recently, like you're in that,
Yeah.
just so everyone knows, that is the final stage where
Yeah.
you look at the past and you're not mad at that person and you're not mad at yourself and you don't have that trigger and you don't have that reaction. That means the wound is healed, the emotional baggage is dropped, and now you can go about your business and create the life of your dreams that you've already been laying the groundwork for
Yeah.
while you've been doing the inner work. That's what a lot of people don't understand too. Like the groundwork this last year for you, even though it has been so fucking hard and treacherous and all the things, that is the groundwork, because everything
Yeah.
that every foundation that you laid your life on prior to this was shaky, because it was built on wounds, it was built on trauma, it was built on ego, it was built on victim, it was built on all of these things that weren't going to allow your heart to be open enough to really
Mhm.
create the life you want. Because art, creativity, passion, manifestation all comes from the heart. And if we're
Yeah.
still down here like that motherfucking bitch got me fucked up, that's
Yeah.
what are we
Yeah.
creating with that? We're not.
Yeah.
We're creating a prison for ourselves to live in that feels comfortable, because that loop is all we know. And that's why it's so hard to get out of that. But you've been doing amazing, I think. What do you feel about that?
Um, actually, before I answer that, I think that two things that came to me while you were talking is like something that has helped me is breaking out of the idea that it's not black and white, because I think for so long I, maybe it's I think it's a lot again, it's so layered, right? Because I think part of it is the way that I was raised, part of it is my personality, part of it is the way I was, and obviously who I am is because of my surroundings, how everything, my experience of life, my access or lack of access of things, and I just always thought like it has to be just black or white. And I think it was also safer to see it that way. It's either right or wrong. And it's not like that, like most of life is not like that at all. And having to realize that was so hard. And I think my my last relationship really dug that message hard. Like, I think that is one of the hardest lessons I had to learn through that experience of like it's not right or wrong, because I think that that's something I battled constantly day in and day out, and I sadly think I took it out on the both of us of like I'm right and you're wrong and I'm right, or you're right and I'm wrong. This situation is wrong. This situation is right. And just, it wasn't like that at all. You know what I mean? It was not, I think that if I could have, I mean, this is whatever, it's like not wish, could have, would have, whatever. But obviously I see it differently now. But how drastically different would have my life or my experience been had I accepted that things are not always just black and white. And once I started to realize that, I started to realize, oh shit, okay, this is a layered situation. Part of this is, and it's not just like, there's not just one truth, because I am not just like, I'm a layered person. I am not just one thing. I'm a multiple of things, I am all of my experiences in one. And therefore I will experience life differently, and therefore also people will experience me differently. And
Yes.
it like getting into that like new way of thinking has just like completely opened up my the way that I experience life now, because
Yes.
I'm not, now I feel like I see more color, right? Like now I'm just
Ah, you
like,
feel
whoa.
alive.
Yeah, because now I'm not like limiting myself. Now I'm not like,
Mm.
oh, okay, this is right, this is wrong, or this person, this is to me, that's wrong, or this is right. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, this could mean a lot of things. And I guess that's also helped my anxiety, because
Yes.
I'm a very anxious person, so that's
Yeah.
given me the ability to just be like, okay, what do we think about this? Got it. Okay, what could be, it's given me more room to like go back to, or then transition to where we want to be, which is neutrality. Like
Yes.
that right there, I remember, I mean, we've had a few conversations on neutrality, and that, God, has that saved so many like anxious times for me, because I have been able to just like step back and be like, okay, let's be
Mhm.
neutral, let's not freak out, let's not go here, let's just stay right here. Let's just
Mhm.
stay right here. And God, that has been like honestly a huge, 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 huge help. So,
Good.
but now I don't even remember what you asked me.
No, but I think this is good because that you just everything that you just explained is the turning point where the ego dies, and that's why this process feels like a death, because what is truly dying, so to speak, is your ego. You're recognizing your ego is the human mind that is literally just made up of your traumas, your beliefs, what people told you, what you believe about yourself, what you believe about your life, what you believe about the world. And those are not bad, right? Because there is no good or
Yeah.
bad, but those aren't bad, but they should shift and change over time. You should believe different things as you
Yeah.
grow and you learn more. You should shift, you should change. You shouldn't
Yeah.
just believe right, wrong on the playground. You should develop
Yeah.
mentally past that
Critical thinking.
thinking. Yeah, you should develop past that thinking. You should allow yourself to grow emotionally. You should combine your thinking with the way that situations make you feel. And you shouldn't be, mentally or emotionally reactive off of either one, because if you are, all that shows, again, it's not good or bad, but all it shows is where you still need healing. And it's never outside of you, because people are only showing you what you need healed. And when you
Mhm.
get out of the victim and the ego, your connections change, because you are no longer on the same level of people who are believing that there is right or wrong. Everything just is. We are all, as you said, multifaceted. We are a makeup of many different versions, people, places, things. So the parts of ourselves that we grew with, they are not dead, but they are integrated. We take the knowledge, the wisdom, we take the lessons, we take the experiences, but we don't take the pain, and we shift the beliefs. That is the freedom. So it's like,
Yeah.
that is the process, and the way to best get through that is from that neutral place, because when you put yourself in the present and you don't allow yourself to like react, you, in that moment, you are systematically changing your brain chemistry, and you are then in turn giving yourself a safe place to be within yourself. And when we have trauma, it's because we've tried to outsource that or project that onto other people, which makes us anxious, because the reality is that we can't control other people. And so
Yeah.
we have no, when we outsource our power in that way, we don't have control, which makes us anxious, because there is no control to be had in that. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, we're fucking
Yeah.
ourselves. What's up,
Yeah.
accountability? Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
hard to recognize, because it was so easy to be like, they did it,
Yep.
them, that, because
Hmm.
that process that we both like totally just like broke down into like gems for the world.
Yeah.
That's, like I said, that's your ticket, that's your way out. But that is like, that's hard.
Yeah.
Compare the two, to blame, to say it was them, to
Yeah.
be wrapped in a familiar hell,
Yeah.
or look at ourselves, look at the people,
Yeah.
be honest, and embark on an unfamiliar heaven. What are we
Yeah.
choosing? Like, it's this
Yeah.
sounds better, but this feels better. So like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
how do we get everyone on board so we can go? And that neutral place is the way. So
For
sorry, it's like
sure.
100 degrees out here, and it's like I did not plan for this day, you guys. I'm telling you, like, I just woke up this morning and they were like, "Oh, it's gonna be 101." I'm like, I'm still in hoodies. Like, I can't even, my brain is not here yet.
Yeah.
But,
That's insane. 100.
yeah, I need to find somewhere else to live, because this is not it. So, but
Yeah. No, for sure.
yeah, so where to now? What's next on this journey for you? What phase are you in? Where are you going? Where are things headed? What are you feeling? What are you thinking about this process so far? And what are you excited about moving forward?
I think, well, now I remember what you had asked me, how I felt about how because I think it ties in, like, do I think I've been doing a good job? And I think part of being this new Vilma, I think I probably just tried not to answer it at first because I was like, I don't want to talk about how I'm like proud of myself,
The
but I
old
think
programming.
but then I was like, no, what do you mean? Yeah, give credit where the credit is due. Like, this wasn't easy. This was extremely hard. It has been extremely painful. It has also been incredibly beautiful. And I I am proud. It's like something that I'm not used to. It's also one of the videos that I was just watching last night that I was telling you I was binging, of hearing you say, like, you know, you would attend like these, how active you were in school and how nobody basically said like, oh my gosh, like, good job, I'm proud of you. Like, and I'm like, damn, like, okay, that yeah, that sounds a little familiar. And I also had my kid really young. So then there's this like layered piece of like how I see myself be through the lens of how society told me to look at myself, on top of my parents, because I was young. I was obviously a girl, and I was pregnant at a young age, and it's like, oh, boo-hoo, like, uh you can't be sad, like, you need a woman, like, look at yourself, like, you're dirty, you're disgusting, you're a whore, look at you, you're dumb, you're worthless, you just ruined your entire life, your daughter's not gonna have no life because of you, because like all of this like layered, and he of course unscathed. Oh no, like, oh my gosh, like, is he present like one time? Oh my God, what an incredible young father. Like, so much to look forward to. Like, you stupid bitch, look at me now. I collectively have received less than 2 years worth of child support in the last 16 years of her life. Like, and I've done it alone,
Girl,
and she has.
same. Guess how much child support I've got? You want to know why? Because I got this shit. Like,
Yeah, and that has also obviously, having that type of mentality, of course, why would I tell myself, good job, girl, you good on you. And now I'm like, no, you, good job, yes, like, you did this, like, we did this, like, not only did we do it, but we did it with kids. You know what I mean? Like, whoa, because we could have been like, oh yeah, like, fuck it, like, there's no way going anyway, like, we had kids, now we just gotta go into what society and what everybody is telling us, we're worthless and we're done for, we got nothing to live, nobody's gonna want us because we have kids, blah blah blah. No, like, if it, and we decided, no, it is because of them that we're gonna just do it, we're just gonna go balls, like, just fucking do it. And I mean, till this day, I'm like, every time, God, I'm gonna get super emotional with her, but like, yeah, I mean, she was like literally the catalyst to the whole reason why I'm here now.
yeah.
Could have I gotten here? Maybe, but not at this speed, and not with just like, with so much like, God, I mean, there's just like, truly, truly, she's like my guardian angel in
Mm,
like in human life form, because
yeah.
I was like, okay, I mean, I could live this trashy ass life, but when she came on board, I was like, fuck no, she didn't sign up for this.
Mm,
She's not gonna do it. So because of her, I've got to reap the benefits of trying to give her a good life, So now I'm like, yeah, I want her to speak nice to herself. So I need to speak good about myself. So I am proud. I think, what I've done is not easy. there's been times where I hear people being like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you did it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you quit your job. Oh my gosh, blah blah blah." And then there's been times where people are like, "Wow, you're so courageous," and I'm just like, "Oh, don't call me that." It's too much pressure. Please, I'm just a girl. But I don't know. I just now I'm like, okay, okay, yeah. Like now I'm just like, fuck yeah, like I did it. Like and I'm going back to school 10 years ago, like plus 10 after not being in school over 10 plus years. So I'm really proud of myself. And now, God, now, okay, now I have to, I guess, just say my dreams out loud. I think that's what has to happen, even though I've been like, oh,
Yes, yes. But real
but
quick to like to you saying about your daughter, I love that because I feel like not only does society look down on like young pregnant mothers, but they also look down on women where for their choice of men, if the who the dad is, if they don't stay, if this or that, like fuck
mm-hmm,
being attracted to the shitty people our family was, like fuck
mm-hmm,
mental health, fuck psychology, fuck
mm-hmm,
science, like I'm just a piece of shit. You're right. Thank you, society.
mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, you get um you so you get judged for having a kid, period. Then you get judged for who you have a kid with if that person is a piece of shit. Then you get judged for how you raise the child.
Mm-hmm.
And if you and
Mm-hmm.
every single choice that you make, job, provider, career, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever, is under a microscope constantly and constantly scrutinized. And to look all of that scrutiny in the face and be like, fuck you, I'm gonna do this
Yep.
shit and I'm gonna do it my way.
Yeah.
That is some
Yeah.
badass shit. And that should be
Yeah.
celebrated, even though there are so many different avenues in which society will find a way not to celebrate people, to keep them in the
Mm-hmm.
trap, in the loop, in the this and the that. The most courageous thing you can do is look that shit in the face and be like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna do this
Yep.
shit. And you do it anyways. And even society, especially like egotistical men with like stick up their asses, they'll be like, oh, she's so masculine. She's so independent. No, my guy, you're just a bitch and you're
Yeah. No,
mad because I
seriously.
am like 10 times the man that you could ever be. And there's no coincidences why women end up in relationships with men like that, because
Mm-hmm.
people don't know how to handle a woman who has carried not only a child, but
Mm-hmm.
the trauma and the weight of the fucking world on
Preach.
her back just to climb a
Yes.
mountain to freedom. And nobody talks about this. And the way that you are seeing the strength and the bravery and the courage in it now, even though being strong and being courageous and be
Yeah.
is hard, and it's a noble job with not a lot of reward in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
but God never misses. And the people that really need to see it are, you can't see them. That's how I say
Yeah.
it. So they're watching, and there's blessings on the other side of that. And you didn't come this far. I think we talked about this earlier. You didn't
Yeah.
come this far just to come this far. And so
Yeah.
it really is only up from here. So ha- what is your way up look like from here?
I like that.
Now that you've hit the
Yeah.
mountaintop, like what
Yeah.
is your way up? What is your elevation? What is your next step? Where are you going? What does life look like for you? Or what would you want it to look like for you this next year?
I love how that was the way up. What's your
You
way up
already
for
know.
God, now it's like I feel like anything is possible, even though part of me still feels a little for sure scared, nervous, like how could I think even bigger than what
Totally
I've already
fine.
dreamed of,
Yeah.
like, but I want to continue to go into school. That's still definitely still and we've talked about this, right? Like when I was before going back to school, and I remember you saying like, yes, you got to do it because this is going to give you this level of confidence. And boy, were you right. Because I just feel like Damn, like, yeah, I am that
I need
girl.
that. Yes, we love a
And
graduating queen.
yes, so now I'm like, my first, and it's funny because originally I just wanted to get like, I mean, I had already 2 years under my belt. So I was like, okay, I just need another 2 years, 2 years and a half. I'll finish and I'll just get like, general studies, or I don't know, just something where I could just like finish my degree. Um, and then I was like, wait a minute, I kind of like it here. I've always liked like learning new things. So I was like, okay, this makes sense. And now I'm like, dude, maybe I need to stick this out for the long run. Like now I've been thinking about like, okay, well, I really, really like sociology. And I always have. So I'm like, okay, do I want to get like so far? I mean, I don't know if I'll actually do it, but I'm like, do I need to be like Dr. Estrada? You know?
You can be whoever you want to be.
you know, I'm like, this is really cool. Like, I want to be able to have the language to, because what I feel like has been happening through school is that I have been getting validated. I have been getting the language I need to explain what my experience has been. Because I think that for me, my hardest, one of my most challenging part has been sharing, putting words to my emotions, because I feel like if I could just let somebody in, just, or if you could just hold my hand, people would be like, oh, I don't want to feel it, because I feel like I feel so strongly that
Typical
as soon as you
Scorpio
touch,
behavior.
yeah, yeah, yes, yes. Oh my God, yes. Because I feel like if you touch me, hold my hand, you could feel my emotions in colors, in vibration, in music, and you're just like, holy shit, what the fuck did I just experience? But it's hard for me to then put it in words. So it makes sense why I'm artistic and why I'm creative, because that is my way to release my emotions and share how I'm thinking and how I feel.
Yes.
So I think going to school has given me that opportunity. And I think also it's given my little self that opportunity of just like, girl, you weren't stupid. Because I think that for so long, right? That was that idea of like, you're done, you're never gonna, achieve much. And I was like, wait, no, I can do this. Like,
Those fucking beliefs.
yeah, right. Yes, exactly. And so I'm like, wait. And then even another layering piece is, um, I'll be the first person in my family to go to college. And then I was like, okay, I was like, then I stopped, right? But I don't want my daughter to be the first one in our family. Like, that's not fair to her, because then she'll have to do it all alone, experience every step of the way for her for the first time. And I won't have any capital to teach her, like, oh, this is what you can
Yeah,
expect.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, this is how we need to do it. No, I can go through the pain and the heartache of just like, fuck, how do we do this? Who do I need to reach out to? How do I create this? Like, I'll go through that so that when she gets there, she'll be like, Mom, what do I need to do? I got you. I got you. Let's do
Yes.
it. you know?
Yes.
So, and it's also been so incredible to see her see me going through it and just being like, or telling her friends, like, oh, yeah, my mom's going to school, or like, all of these cool, like, damn, it makes me feel good. I'm like, yeah, I am. And so, definitely going to school, who knows? I mean, I definitely want to get, for maybe perhaps a double major, who knows, you know what I mean? At this point, I feel like I'm going to be in school for a while. I feel like if I can map it out, I'm not going to lie, I probably will be in school for the next 10 years. That's my idea.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I also think that in, I want to be able to help people, right? And in order to help people, I feel like I have to be, really diverse in like my a way of thinking. And, I think that especially now in the way that things, like what the world is right now, we need those scholars. We need people to really
Yeah.
have critical thinking and
Yeah.
be able to have the language to then speak to people in different capacities, like people from
Yeah.
the artistic world, people who only view things in like numbers, things that people only, only in words. Like I really want to create this like uh diversity within myself of like, okay, like, and I also will, no matter what benefit of it, like any class I'm taking, I'm benefiting from it because I'm learning
Yeah.
something new, and
Yeah.
therefore it's changing my experience of how I experience life. So I'm
Yeah.
like, hell yeah, I'm about this. I like this. So definitely sticking to school for sure. And
Love it.
um that's also created an opportunity for me to network, because now I'm like talking to my professors. Now I have people to reach out to with certain questions. Now I have
Community building.
community. Yes. And
We've
then
been
yeah,
waiting for some community.
yes, 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 yes. Oh my God, I've been dying for this. I have really have been
Yeah.
just longing this opportunity to just be able to, like, I'm okay if I don't know the question. What I'm not okay with is not having people to reach out to help me, not necessarily give me the answers, but help me create, like, gather information so that I can then make my and a more informative decision, right? Once I get there, like,
Yeah.
okay, got it. You see it like this, you see it like this, got it. Okay, I gather all of my information. What do I do with this? Now I can make the decision, because I don't want people to make decisions for me, which is what I used to do.
Right,
You
right.
know,
No more
now
outsourcing power.
no, yes. Now it's like, okay, well, I am smart. I have to do my research, and I have to reach out to people who have either already gone through it or know a little bit about it. And that's also have been has been really empowering to like feel this like sense of like I can reach out. I can, and people want to help, because I had to
Yes.
change that narrative of like people want
Yes.
to help me, people want to support me, people believe in me, people want to buy into me, people want to invest in me. I think that's the biggest one. People want to invest in me because they see the potential that I have, and I know, because
Yes.
I know that I have the potential, because if I can play it out to you, it would be I used my art to speak on global issues of my experience, of my own personal experience as a woman, as a Latina, as a mom, as somebody who has gone through, God, sexual, you know, harassment, who has gone through assault, who has gone through rape, who has gone through mental um all of these layer of issues, who
Yeah.
has been a single mother, who, just like all of these layered piece, I who has been a child of immigrant parents, like all of this,
Yeah.
I feel like I kept, I think always since I was very, very young, I always wanted to be a a tool to people. I've always wanted to be similar to you, like I feel like
Yeah.
to share my experience so that people could, and we've talked about this, like, right, like, so that they don't have to take the long run, like, guys, guys.
There's an easier way, bitch.
Yes, like I've already, like, please, please, I'm begging you. Like, it doesn't have to be like this. It's not gonna be easy, but it doesn't have to take you 15, 20, 50 years, your whole life, or until you're in your fucking dying bed, or until you're, yeah, dying, to be like, oh, like, maybe I should have apologized, or maybe I should have been different. No, like, get to do it now.
Let that shit
And
go
if it takes,
and
yeah,
start over.
and if it does take you that long and you finally do that, that's okay too. Like, I get
Yeah, yeah,
everybody,
yeah. Yeah. We don't judge.
but no, for sure. I mean, sometimes I do.
No, we judge, but we understand.
No, that's the thing. That one right there. We judge, but we understand,
We get it.
we get it. No, for sure. Like, damn, I
Been
can't even
there,
blame
done
you.
that. We're judging you for it. It's the human
a
way.
hundred percent. Yeah. Actually, there's something my professor said that we criticize to understand.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, that's so true though. Like, we to criticize is like, because you're like, but why? But why? But why? And then you're like, oh, okay, I understand. And it's once you understand, you're no longer judging. You were trying to figure out, where did that come from? Like,
Yeah.
why did that person react that way? What's going on behind that? Because we know, especially us, like, we know, like, dude, if a person is behaving that way, it's not just
There's
because they're
something going on. Like,
yeah,
I
like,
I feel like because I always say there's a light and there's a shadow to everything. It doesn't matter what. Criticism is the shadow of curiosity. As soon
mm,
as you are no longer curious, the harshness of the criticism goes away, and now you have just bred understanding. So
yes.
we criticize out of trauma because we're curious, we want to know. And then
Hmm.
once we figure it out, we're like, oh, okay, well, I guess I can't emotionally feel any type of way because criticism strikes emotion. You say criticize, you get triggered. Oh, emotion.
Yeah.
Ah. You say
Yeah.
curious, you don't feel nothing because it's
Yeah.
like whatever, it's all good.
Yeah.
But when the moment you get criticized, that's when you look in the mirror. That's when you get curious and say, okay,
Yeah.
what is going on here? And that is when, remember how I said earlier, you can't rush, you can't push, you can't force your way into forgiveness. You
Yeah.
have to be curious about the criticism to gain the understanding. That's when you are in a natural state of neutrality. That's when forgiveness naturally happens. That's when
Yeah.
your mindset has shifted. That's when you have healed the trauma, and that's when you're on that fifth dimension, that fifth sort of 5D level of consciousness where you're no longer in that criticizing state and you're no longer in that curiosity state because you have the
Hmm.
understanding. And so
Hmm.
that's why when I say we judge, we listen, we judge, but because we understand, because we've been there,
Yeah.
because we've lived it, because it really is, it's like that old philosophical saying, to err is to human. Like, it's just we're like that, and
Yeah.
the second we can embrace that, all and all of who we are and all of who other people are, that understanding takes the place of any of those harsh emotions or mentalities that keep us in that low vibration. And really, to understand that is to accept, and to accept is to leave grief. And this is
Yeah.
sauce. This is like how we get unstuck. And so that is why your understanding of this is what is going to make this next year of your life what you were envisioning when you first took the leap.
Yeah. God, I mean, what's crazier now is that even though I'm dreaming bigger, I feel like I'm doing it for sure more even though I feel like, oh, that's kind of crazy. I'm still like, fuck it. Like,
It's
let's dream even
calm.
bigger. There's that,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
It's like a calm
Because
chaos where you're no longer
yes,
enmeshed in the chaos. You are an
yes,
observer of it. And that is that next level of consciousness because you don't have any mental and emotional attachment to what you're witnessing. And that is the
yeah,
neutrality, and that is the gift. And that is how not only you master your mind and emotions and all of who you are, but you are able now to master your reality, your external circumstances because of it.
yeah,
So it's really just a great place to be. And I'm just glad you're here. And I don't know. I have watched you. I feel like not to put you on blast, but I feel like I have watched you throughout your entire caterpillar phase, and you are just now becoming this butterfly that in moments I think you didn't even believe you had the capacity to be. And just listening to you today and hearing in between the lines of you admiring all of your colors and your patterns and your shapes is such a huge milestone, if nothing else, from where you started. And that alone could be a testimony for anyone who is struggling in their life and wants a new one. And they can take just in that little piece, I mean, of all of it, but just in that little piece, the motivation they need to jump, to leap, to go, to say fuck it. What do I have to lose?
Yeah.
Everything. Sign me up. Like
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna have to lose everything
yeah,
either
yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah. It's gotta go.
Yeah. So either make your choice on yourself or life will make you make the choice.
100%. 100%. We have the only thing that we really have control over is when we jump. Because either way, the universe is going
Ugh.
to
Yeah.
push us closer and closer and closer until we have that aha moment where we say, okay, this is it.
Mhm.
Like, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
fucking do it and see what happens. And then you trust and you trust and you
Yeah.
trust, and you're right, you get your ass beat along the way, because whatever in you
Mhm.
is old has to go, and whatever around you is old has to go, and it hurts and it
Yep.
sucks and it feels like loss and death. And then one day you wake up and you're like, am I fucking dreaming? Am I really living the life?
Yeah.
Am I starting to live,
Yeah.
actually flow with, actually embrace the life
Yeah.
that a year ago I never thought I could have? What the fuck? And then it just
Yeah.
keeps getting better. Like,
That's so funny that you say that because I think for so long, well, first I have to also give you your flowers because I feel like God, I'm like honestly so god awfully grateful that somehow our paths cross. Like I cannot begin to explain to you how, like, I know I would have figured it out, right? For sure, like we all, but
yeah, yeah.
why would I have had to figure it out so harshly? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why would I have had to gone through it alone? Why would I have, I mean, there's just like, I mean, I think I was like seeking for this, I was seeking for you. Like I was seeking for some, like your energy. I was seeking for someone who can really just be able to like break it down for me in a layered piece, right? Like, okay, this is like your human, experience. This is your spiritual experience. This is like, it's just like, okay, and now let's go within each, and then let's go in deeper within that, like let's talk about it further because it's not that basic. And then also no judging. And then I'm like, oh, okay, okay, thank you. And I'm never, and it's hard because, you know, at least I feel like for me it would have been hard, not necessarily not to judge, but to not, it's hard as a human to not putting your own experience into another person's
Yeah.
experience. And
Yeah.
right, and or when you're, and when you're channeling to not, it's like there's a huge amount of trust within yourself to be able to do that,
Yeah.
because you are dealing with people's lives, where, I'm
Oh my
speaking with
God,
this thing.
yes. Tell me
I
something I don't know. I'm like, oh.
but you do it so gracefully and you do it so, it's not the right word, but I feel like raw is the best word I can right now think about. It's so
Yeah.
pure. I think that's the word. It's
Yeah.
so pure to where I'm just like, got it. Okay, okay, okay. Because then it's like I don't feel like I think it's also, it's like it's in the way that you deliver it, right? I think
Yeah.
has a huge, at least for me, I'm like, that is the best way I can get it delivered. Like, yes, sign me up, because I'm like, what? Yes. And it's been so helpful. Like it's been a huge impact, and
Mm,
of how I and live my life now, like, I mean, now, I mean, I know that it's like, okay, I didn't want it to be how it is in the past, where I put my entire trust in someone and then I'm just like, okay, now they're God,
Yeah.
because that's not healthy either. So it was a
Right.
really, like, I think this also has been a testament to myself, to trust myself, because I know my life better than I know than anybody else, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and it's been something that you have also kind of enforced, like, hey, like, this is a message, but take what resonates with you, take
Yeah.
what you feel like you know best.
Yeah.
And that has given me the empowerment that I need to, for myself, to be like, okay, she's right, like, okay, because then I have then created these like moments where I'm like, okay, it's not necessarily like a test, but in the way where I'm just like, okay, um I'm already thinking of it, and then you validate it, and I'm like, there's
Yeah.
no fucking way she would have known.
I'm just
There's like,
gifted like that. No.
but it's perfect. But it's perfect because then I know that I'm not just like feeding into like
Right.
this like other like woo woo kind of just
The
like, oh
bullshit. Yes, let's just
yeah,
say
yeah,
it. You're not
for
feeding
sure,
into the bullshit. You're getting my
yeah.
hopes up, California psychics. Like,
Yeah.
just waiting for Prince Charming to come to my door. He's not here.
Yes.
Why?
Yeah, and then also just being real about it. Like, girl, look, this is what it is. You might want to hear it, you don't want to hear it. Take what you want. And this is my take on it. Also,
Yeah.
that's what I've also loved. Like, this is a message, but I'm gonna say it to you how I think you should hear it right now. Because there has
Yeah.
been moments where I need to listen it to it uh like more of a, maybe a parental, and then more like a sister, and then more like a
Yeah.
friend, and then more like, like all of these, like more like a counselor. So it's been helpful to hear all of these voices through you, you know what I
I
mean?
love
So
that.
like you have no idea, like
I
I
love that.
am super 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 utterly grateful to like have had the opportunity and an experience to share my last year with you, like you
Oh,
really saw
I'm
me at
gonna
my
cry.
no, I mean, I remember, because even reaching out to you was a little bit like, ooh, like,
I
because
remember you
I
were so apprehensive, and I was like,
yes,
"Let me just lay it to you like this, okay? Because this is
but
not your average session, okay?"
it really, I mean, no, really, because this was the first time I had ever done anything like tarot reading,
Yeah,
ever.
yeah.
Because I was always, I mean, I come from a Catholic upbringing.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah.
I had friends who were like in the spiritual world, but like, they were also like, no, like that's not what you do. No, that is the evil,
Man.
like.
Sometimes, hey, sometimes it is though,
And
like
sometimes it is.
that.
No, you're right. You're right. For sure, 100%. And and that's in everything, right? Like Catholic, and come on,
Exactly.
let's be
Christianity,
honest.
yeah.
I mean, come
Everything has
on.
its dark that's why I say there's always a dark and light to everything. It doesn't matter what it is. There's always
Mm-hmm.
people out here using shit for good and for evil. And it's really just
Mm-hmm.
about the intention. So I always ask, like, what is your intention behind what you're doing?
Yeah.
Like, if it's not
Yeah.
the, because I don't know, but yeah,
100%. So thank you. Honestly, just like,
yeah.
thank you. Like,
Yeah.
I so fucking grateful.
Yeah.
Just like,
Okay, now I'm
I
gonna for
think,
real cry because
no,
like,
because I think about that day. I think about that day is so clear to me. I
wow.
was sitting in my car in tears, just like feeling like I couldn't
Yeah.
breathe, feeling like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Like, how am I gonna overcome this?
Yeah.
How am I going to live my life now without, and I know it's so crazy, because I think I've heard, and I hear still these stories now of like people being like, oh, get over it, like you just, you broke up with someone, it's not that big of a deal, like life moves on, there's enough fish in the sea, blah blah blah. But there's, and sometimes I guess that could partially be true, like, whatever. But again, going back to the layers, it's like and I think that in that time in my life too, I was losing so much. I had
All
changed
at
jobs
once.
all at once, like who I was, who I wanted to be, who I thought I was, who I wanted to become, who I wanted to be with. It was just like everything around me was falling apart. And I, even like now, like it's almost like, I know it's almost like that Vilma in that cart right now is gifting me the opportunity to experience just a little slightly glimpse of that pain right now, to
Yeah.
be like, yeah, you went through that, because it was, God, I remember just like holding on to my steering wheel and just being like, fuck, like I can't. Like,
Yeah.
how am I gonna do this? Like, like I was shaking, like my body was trembling. Like I just remember being like, dude, what the fuck? Like, how am I gonna?
Yeah.
Who am I gonna reach out to? Who is gonna? I'm gonna do it alone. I'm not gonna be able to do it. And you're you were just so like, honestly, just kind. Like you were just like, girl, like we're gonna get through it. Like, let's see.
I'm
like
crying.
let's see what we got right now. And it was that moment of just like being able to just feel like somebody just like if I could just explain it to you, like if you just like got me like and grabbed me from like the waist and just like, come on, like we got, like let's go. And I was just
Ah,
like, that's how it felt. That's how it felt,
yeah.
because I no longer had energy for anything. I
Yeah.
was like, even like right now, I feel so like, God, like if I'm just kind of floating right now, because that's
Yeah.
a similar experience, but different how I felt at that moment of just like, oh my God, my life is
Never gonna be the
you know,
same.
never going to be the same. I think that's the moment I realized that. I
And that's a
realized,
hard truth. Even though it's a good
yeah.
truth, it's probably the hardest because that truth entails a lot of loss and a lot of leaving
So
behind and
much.
a lot of letting go. And that is very difficult for the nervous system. That is very difficult for the heart. That is very difficult for the soul. It's very difficult for the brain. And you did that shit. We did that shit.
We did
Like,
it, girl.
because I remember it. Listen, just as
Ah,
much as you remember that shit, I remember it too. And that's why I say, like, that's why I was saying the whole like butterfly and all the things, because you really have come so far. And I believe we all are going to do it on our own if we really want to. Anyways, we started this saying that if there's a will, there is a way,
there's a
and you
way.
had the
Yeah.
will. And so God made a way. And I
Yeah.
tend to pop up in people's lives
Yeah.
when they are at their darkest.
Yeah.
And I believe that I always talk about Harriet Tubman and everyone always laughs at me, but that's a badass bitch. Like if you go back
Yeah.
in history, that is a bad bitch. And what she did was she was in the trenches with everyone else and used her torch literally of light to take people out of the darkest places and into freedom. And she is my hero because of that exactly. And I have built the Way Up Network around getting people in their darkest who want freedom and taking them with my light through the Underground Railroad to freedom, bitch. And I don't promise a comfy ride because
Yeah.
escaping prison is never fun. But
Yeah.
I do promise freedom and I do promise a way better life than you had before. And I can only do that if I've seen it, if I've witnessed it, if I believe in it, and if I know it is the truth. And
Yeah.
if you want to talk religion, girl, God says the way, the truth, and the light for a reason because they all lead you home. And
Yeah.
you have spent this last year coming home to yourself in the most painfully beautiful way, and it's an honor for me to have for you, number one, to trust me to do it because there is some shady business out here in these streets and I don't
Yeah.
play that. So like I'm just glad that you've trusted me, but I'm also glad that you trusted in yourself, because if you didn't trust in yourself, you wouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
here at all,
Mm-hmm.
before me, during me, after me. And
Mm-hmm.
with that, I would just say that I am so glad that I know you, because I
Same.
know where you're going, and I can just feel it, and it's just going to be so good. And if anyone deserves it, it is you. You have put in the work.
Thank you.
You have proven it can be done. And I want to have you back in the
Of
future
course.
on here so you can update us and tell us how everything
Happy.
is going. You have
Yes.
a big trip coming up. You're moving,
Yeah.
you're leaving the country, and we want to follow up on that, and we want to see what is
Yeah.
going on. So I think for today, we'll call it a wrap, and
Yes.
we
Thank
will
you.
meet back up here soon, and we'll do this again, and we'll see where your life is going. I mean, we know where it's going, but
Yeah.
what you create now. So
Yes.
what we'll
Thank
see.
you
We
so
want to see what
much.
you create from the ashes. Mm,
Thanks again. And
yeah.
for sure, we'll be back.
Yes, we
Until next time.
will. Yes, we will. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
on
you.
today. You have no idea. I just love you so much. And I'm just so grateful
Thank you.
that we got to do this first episode
I know.
together. I'm literally going to drop this today. Like, let me tell
Okay.
you, nothing is a coincidence. And you guys get to be in on this too, because
Yeah.
I said I was going to drop a podcast episode every Wednesday. Why is today Wednesday? And why did we just decide to do this out of the cut? Like, I'm not gonna edit nothing. I'm just gonna
Let's do it.
upload it,
Let's,
and it's
you
dropping
know.
tonight. So if you guys are watching this, we did this shit in the afternoon, and
Yeah.
you're gonna be watching this tonight. So we hoped you liked it. If you did, drop
Yes.
a comment below. Make sure you guys like the video. Subscribe if you're listening to this on the podcast platforms. Give it a 5-star rating, because it was that. So if you guys also want a chance to be on Way Up After Dark, there is a link down below in the description box that you can fill out the form if you want to just do what we did here today and all this healing greatness. But that's gonna be it for this episode. I think it was amazing. Let us know what you guys thought, and we will be back with another episode maybe next week. I don't know. The way Vilma got us up here doing all this shit today, it might be tomorrow. Who knows? I don't
Stay
know.
tuned.
But
All right.
thank you guys for joining us today, and we
Bye.
will talk to you soon.